So the other day I decided I was going to go on a hike, right? And drove to the park. I think I'll just go for a couple of miles, nothing too long. A couple of hours after I started walking, I realized maybe I should take a look at the map. I had happened to just by chance choose the longest trail in the park, about 7 miles. I estimated where I was on the map, and I was about halfway through the trip. So I'm like, I might just as well keep going, because if I turn back, I'm walking the same distance, and at least now I can say I completed it. I keep going. A little while later, there's a split. 2 places where the trail goes to another trail, or you can keep going on the right trail. I decided to take the split. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I thought I was going with the right one, so I realized that 2 miles later, which means I have to turn around and go back, which adds up to a 4-mile detour. So, in the end, this day, where I thought that I would be just a nice hour-long walk in the woods, ended up being an 11-mile hike lasting most of the day. And that's what it felt like when I was reading Dune Road as well. So this book, I thought it would be about Kit learning to navigate life as a newly divorced woman, and we got some of that, but it was also just not a lot of her. There were 7 or 8 other characters whose point of view was told, but they didn't really add that much to the story other than sharing information that could have related later on, but it didn't because it was just an 11-mile hike lost in the woods. I feel as if a lot of the characters, their whole point of view was just for a little bit of exposition. That it might have been more interesting if the information had been revealed in other ways to Kit later on in the book. And a lot of times that information was, so it's like the author was trying to tell us information before Kit knew about it to try and build the suspense a little bit or something. But it just didn't really work for me. One of the things I did really like about this book was the time setting. This book was published a few years ago, 2009, I believe. And so that was right in the midst of the financial crisis. I was younger at the time. I was in college, and so I didn't really, know a whole lot. I knew, finances were an issue. Good luck getting a job when you graduate college, Rosa, because of all of this. But it was really interesting for me to read a book where that was such a big part of the book, because it was something I just didn't know a whole lot about. And obviously at the time it was written, it wasn't really historical because it was modern. It was what was going on. But now it was almost like reading a bit of historical fiction for me. And I really liked that. I also think that with all the different plot lines and all the different characters and how they all interweave together, it would make for a really interesting TV show, I think. A nice drama series. It could definitely be really interesting. I'd love to watch that show more than I read the book, definitely. So that's what I thought about this book. Hope you're enjoying yours. I think on Goodreads I ended up rating this book 3 out of 5 stars. There were some interesting parts, and there was definitely the middle of this where I thought, oh, this is going to be good. I can't wait. But in the end, none of that really came through. It was just really a long, aimless walk in the woods.